The controlled burn was unnecessary. That is not an opinion. That is the official conclusion of the federal agency that investigated what happened at the Ohio derailment site. February 6th, 3 days after the crash. The sensors warned. The train didn't stop. You already know that. Now, something far worse is about to happen. And it starts with one man in a room with 13 minutes to make a decision that will change the lives of 4,700 people. What he didn't know, and what nobody in that room told him, is what this video is about.
Subscribe, like, and turn on notifications.
Picture this. You are Keith Drabick, the local fire chief. Your whole career has been house fires, car accidents, the occasional chemical spill. Nothing like this. It is day 3. You have slept maybe 6 hours total. The wreckage is still burning. And now, someone in the room is telling you the worst may still be coming. The vinyl chloride inside those tanks, it may begin a dangerous chemical reaction. If it does, the tank ruptures. An explosion would scatter debris across a mile radius. Think about what that means, a mile radius. There are still people in homes inside that radius, schools, a church. People who came back because they were told it was safe. The recommendation is vent and burn. Open the tanks now, release the contents, set it on fire. A dark cloud will rise over the town, but it is the only way to prevent something far worse. You look around the room. Norfolk Southern contractors, state officials, federal representatives. These are not random people. These are the people who are supposed to know, the people with the credentials, the authority, the experience. Every single person is nodding. You have 13 minutes to decide. There is no time to make more calls, no time to find another opinion, no time to question the room. You approve it. Outside, someone opens the valve. The vinyl chloride begins to flow. It ignites. The flame rises 30 feet into the air above a residential neighborhood in Ohio. And then the cloud forms, black, dense, moving across the sky above the homes and the schools and the church. People who were watching from their driveways took out their phones and started recording. Those videos are still online. Burning vinyl chloride doesn't just disappear. It breaks down into phosgene, a chemical compound linked to severe respiratory issues. In the days after the burn, residents reported burning eyes, rashes, and difficulty breathing. Impacts on wildlife were reported in the local creek within 24 hours. Norfolk Southern said the air was safe. What you did not know, what nobody in that room told you, was that there were other experts at that site. The company that manufactured the vinyl chloride had a team on the ground, people who had spent their entire careers understanding exactly what this chemical does under pressure and heat. Their read was the opposite of what you just heard. They were 50 feet away. Nobody went to get them. NTSB Chair Jennifer Homendy said this publicly in front of the U.S. Senate. The incident commander did not even know those experts existed. The NTSB investigation later looked into exactly why. What they found was not a single decision made by a single person. It was a structure. The decision-making room had a defined list of who was supposed to be in it The manufacturer's team was not on that list. Nobody broke a rule by keeping them out. They were simply never included by design. That is what makes this harder to assign blame for and easier to let happen again. Here is what the data showed, data that existed before the decision was made. The internal temperature of the tank that raised concerns had been falling for hours. More than 6 hours before the burn began, the NTSB confirmed those temperatures had already stabilized. The temperature was not rising, it was falling. The dangerous reaction they were warning about, it requires conditions that were not present. The NTSB confirmed those conditions did not exist. Scientific data indicated that an explosion was not imminent and they could wait. And yet, Norfolk Southern and its contractors kept pushing for the burn. NTSB investigator Paul Stansel stated in the final hearing, they kept asserting the burn was necessary, even as the evidence pointed the other way. He called it confirmation bias. They had already decided the data was not going to change that. Norfolk Southern disputes this. They say the decision was made on the best available information at the time. The NTSB says otherwise. Both positions are in the public record. You have the documents. You decide. There is one question that cuts through all of this. A senator asked it directly in a Senate hearing on the public record. Did Norfolk Southern push for the vent and burn, not because it was scientifically necessary, but because it was fast? Because expediting the vent and burn would reopen the rail line and get the freight moving again? Norfolk Southern's main freight corridor runs directly through the affected town. Every hour that line is blocked, lost revenue. Vent and burn gets the line open, fast. The alternatives, waiting for tanks to cool, safely removing them, would take days longer. Before choosing vent and burn, Norfolk Southern rejected 3 other removal methods. All 3 were slower. 3 alternatives, all slower, all rejected. I want you to hold one number in your mind. The rail line reopened the morning after the burn. Every alternative you are about to hear would have taken longer than that. Keep that in mind. The first was offloading. Transfer the vinyl chloride from the damaged cars into other containers before any burn. Safest for the surrounding area. Estimated timeline, several days. The second was controlled venting without ignition. Release the gas slowly and let it disperse. Requires extended monitoring and wind condition management. Also slower. The third was full tank removal by crane, physically taking the damaged cars off-site before any chemical intervention. The most time-consuming option of all. All 3 were rejected. The one that was chosen was the fastest. And it was the only option that caused a massive plume to screen the residential area. NTSB Chair Jennifer Homendy stated publicly in front of the Senate that a Norfolk Southern executive contacted her before the final NTSB board meeting. That executive said they hoped the NTSB would put to rest the rumor that Norfolk Southern had pushed for the burn to reopen the line. She called that approach unethical and inappropriate. A federal safety chair on the record. A railroad company attempted to influence the inquiry regarding its operational conduct. That is not a conspiracy. That is just what the documents say, and the documents say enough. Keith Drabick made the best call he could, with 13 minutes and one version of events. The experts who could have given him a different version were in the building. Nobody went to get them. Whether intentional or not, that is exactly what happened. The local families woke up that morning to to heavy smoke covering the sky. That was not a natural outcome. That was the result of a decision made in a room with filtered information and experts who were never called in. The NTSB concluded the burn was unnecessary. The information that could have changed the decision existed, but never reached the final decision makers. And here is the part that should stay with you. The rail line reopened the next day. Norfolk Southern resumed operations within 24 hours of the burn. The affected families are still waiting for answers. Some residents continue to report health concerns related to the unnecessary vent and burn. You are in that room. 13 minutes, every voice says, burn. You don't know the other side exists. What would you do? Tell me in the comments. Don't miss out on the next content. Subscribe, like, and turn on notifications.